This looks good. I already had a piece. Huh? Let me see. Talk, Mom? No? I mean, no, you're good. It's going. Yeah, Mom, you're working. I told you. Mom, the bar's telling me you're good.
I know, but they say.
Check. Oh, Mom, this one, Mom.
All right.
Wait. Come on.
No, it's picking up on this one right here. Check. It's not showing up on Facebook. Check. 1, 2. Check. It's not showing up on Facebook. Check. All right. See if they can, with the changing of the mic, see if they hear it now. They can? Check. Check. All right. That's good. I always have problems with these mics. I'm sorry. This is like an every time thing. I don't know if we need to get like Rode mics or whatever. These are, I don't know what these are, but maybe something simpler. But we're good? Okay. All right. Hey, guys. So good seeing you guys. So good to have you here, Chase, Melinda. So good. Miranda. And then we have Charles, Charlie, Thane. I got yours right. Kristen, Miss Glennis. Do y'all want to come over here? Y'all are always over there. Come and hang out with us. Come on. Miss Pam. So good to see you. So good to see you. We got enough chairs? We got enough chairs, right? Knox, if we don't have enough chairs, bring one over for Miss Pam. I want everyone to be comfortable tonight. Okay. I just wanted to talk to you guys tonight, really, and not preach, because there's some huge downloads I've been getting from the Lord about the month we're going into in May. And I just want everyone to be ready for the opportunities that the Lord's going to give all of us, because this has been a long time coming. This has been something the Lord's been talking to me about for a long time. We are in the Passover Pentecost season where we've got these 40 days, and Red Sea moments are starting to open up for people. Okay. I am so excited about what the Lord is doing just here and at our own church and just the churches around the nation. You know, when we did Find Your Tribe, we were just being obedient. And so now the network has just exploded, and we're, how many do you think you have in queue to put in? We've got 500 churches, but you still have more to put in like next week. And these are legit churches, guys. Listen, online. If you need a miracle, if you need a healing, you have on Find Your Tribe on the website, these churches are operating in signs, miracles, and wonders. That's why they're on there. And so search them. Your state, go to your state. It'll pop open all of the churches that are operating this way. And I'm telling you, it's exploding. It's exploding not only in this nation, what the Lord is doing, but globally. Is it not? Like, we're seeing people fly in all over the place, not only to come to our church, but other churches where the Lord is moving. The glory is actually happening. And so what are we going to need? We're going to need tools, and we're going to need resources to be able to bring in this harvest. And that's what I'm so excited about. So I wrote today in my notes, just so I could stay on task, because you guys know, like, I will just go if you guys allow me to. But I want to stay on these bullet points, and my title is Hooray for May. That's what I heard when I wrote this down. Hooray for May, because we're going to be really, really excited. Multiple opportunities are coming starting now. But here's the thing. A lot of people who, I don't know if you guys have heard like the catchwords or buzzwords all over social media, YouTube, wealth transfer, things like that. Some pastors have even talked about it. This is true, but the way that the Lord has explained it to me and downloaded to me, and the way I've always tried to teach it for the past 2 or 3 years before it started to really happen, is that this isn't just going to be like an overnight, you have multi-millions in your bank account when you wake up. Okay, this is not, and a lot of people are waiting for that. A lot of people are in certain like cryptos, for example, hoping that a crypto that has 7 zeros in front of it loses 6 while they sleep. It doesn't happen that way. But a lot of these opportunities are really great opportunities. Things like this have happened, but this isn't the way that the Lord is going to transfer wealth to his people. So the wealth transfer is going to look like, yes, it's going to look like cryptos. It's going to look like job opportunities. It's going to look like happiness. It's going to look like joy. It's going to look like land inheritances. It's going to look like healings. It's going to be a transfer of, because what is wealth if you're sick? What is wealth if you've got cancer? What is wealth if you're depressed? I mean, wealth does not create happiness. It does make a lot easier for things easier in life, but it doesn't produce any happiness. So wealth partnered with wellness, partnered with joy, partnered with laughter. This is the fruits of the Spirit. This is Christ. This is living at our full capacity for what? Which is what I preach all the time. To bring in his people. To bring in his people. Cryptos, healings, gifts, mantles, anointings are dropping. There's gifts on the inside of each one of you that have laid dormant for this season, for this moment in time. Gifts that maybe you've contemplated in your mind saying, you know, maybe you're saying, I've seen myself do this. I've seen myself do that. I feel like I'm called to do this. I feel like I'm called to do that. But maybe the timing was off. Maybe the confidence wasn't there. It's coming now. These mantles are dropping on people. And you'll know because I knew when it was time for me to step out and start preaching, whether I had anybody to preach to, is because on the inside of me, it was so much fire that if I didn't release it, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't be still. I couldn't sit down. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't watch anything. Like my life was totally different and it's remained that way. It doesn't ever go away. Like the fire on the inside of you when you're mantled, it doesn't ever disappear. And the only way that I can describe it is this is my normal, but to everybody who maybe is not around me all the time, like they'll ask me, does she ever sit down? Does she ever stop? Does she ever stop listening to sermons? Does she ever stop preaching? His answer is probably no. My daughter will sit there and say no. She's always on the porch reading. She's always listening to a sermon. She's always it doesn't go away. I can't shut this down if I tried. Like it doesn't. I annoy people and I know that, but I can't stop talking about Jesus. So this is what mantles will feel like. They'll feel like if you stopped doing or wanting to do what you feel like you should be doing, you'd rather just die. And that feeling when you release what you're called to do is such a relief that you have peace because now you've been in obedience. Okay, so these mantles are falling and this is what they're going to feel like. They're going to feel like you can't stop. Whether that is, whatever your gifting is, I don't know, did the Lord call you to step out and pastor? Like I know I've talked to Chase before, and 2 years ago, I still remember it when the Lord told me to tell you, you're a pastor. You have a shepherd anointing on you, and that timing is between you and God. I remember that. And him and his wife, they both do. So whether it's the fivefold, it doesn't have to be the fivefold, but maybe you're called out into the marketplace. You can be an apostle, an evangelist, a teacher, a prophet, and I missed one. Did I say apostle? Pastor. Out in the marketplace. It doesn't have to be in a building. Like for me, I am not online some of you are unfamiliar with this. You kind of think that everyone that preaches the word is a pastor. That's not true. A pastor is a pastor, and they have a central location where they shepherd a flock. But some of you have the word inside of you, and you're a preacher, but you feel like that you should have a church, and that's not it. You weren't called for the church. You're called for out there. I'm not called to preach in the church. I'm called to evangelize outside the church. And then what do? I plug them into the church. Haley builds the Find Your Tribe network, right? And we plug people into discipleship. It could look all kind of different things. These mantles are dropping. It's happening now, okay? There is a catch. So when I saw the keys falling in my dream back last year, when they were falling from the rafters, and I was telling all the church congregation in the dream, grab the keys, because if you do not grab them, they're going to fall to the ground and they're going to disappear. And in the dream, my pockets were so full, like I was gorged. I was shoving them like everywhere in the dream. Like I was bulging with keys. But I also noticed there was a lot of people in the church that were just standing around in awe going, this is so glorious. This is so wonderful. And they weren't grabbing anything. You have to have the labor, the drive, the motivation to reach out and grab what the Lord is bringing to you. You have to physically walk through these doors, right? Just like Noah had to physically build the ark. The Lord came to Noah and said, look, this is coming. You need to build the ark. It didn't just show up one day sitting in front of Noah. He physically had to get his family involved. He had to get his kids involved. My kids, my husband's involved in the ministry. We have to labor and till the soil. Just like when the Lord said with the talents, he gave 3 different values of talents, and he expected a return on his investment. Well, what happened to the one that just felt like he was just going to hold it for the Lord until he returned? That wasn't okay. The Lord was actually offended and said, look what I gave you. You did absolutely nothing with it, and I've got nothing in return. So Jesus's investments are his children. So these mantles, this money, these opportunities, influence. Some of you are going to gain influence that you didn't even work to get. All of a sudden, maybe you make one reel about Jesus and it goes viral and everyone's following you. Now you've got this platform to shine a light on Christ. When things come to you so quickly, you need to be careful also how you steward what comes to you, because the Lord is also watching how you steward authority, how you steward power, how you steward influence, how you treat people when you have authority and power. Some people really, really love the Lord, but my goodness, if you give them control over a pencil sharpener, they're just going to lose their mind about it. They just want control so badly and treat people so poorly over the smallest things. So we need to be careful with this, because it's going to rain on the just and unjust. This is a time where the Red Sea is going to part for everybody. But I tell you this, if we don't have Jesus as the center with what is coming, if he's not a center in any of our lives, things will disappear as quickly as they came. People will come overnight success, overnight millionaires that are not righteous, because it rains on the just and unjust. But just as quick as it came, it'll flow right through their fingers, because they don't have kingdom wisdom on how to steward it. They don't have kingdom wisdom on how to build. They don't have him in mind. They have self in mind. So we have to reach out and grab these keys. The Lord's been very specific with me on this. I'm afraid that on the other side of this, here in a couple years, there's going to be still people looking for the mantles, the wealth transfer, and everything that's been poured out, and it's already going to be transferred with an ED. And they're just still going to be waiting with their hands out going, what happened? I'm still waiting. And the whole church and the kingdom have moved on, working in their assignments. We have to physically walk out of Egypt, physically. I'm finding the more that I talk about kingdom building, kingdom finance, kingdom having limitless resources, obviously, because it's a spirit, the more pushback I get, or anybody gets, when they talk about money in the church. The problem is that the church is repeating the same situation in Exodus. They don't want to leave Egypt. And if they do leave Egypt, they want to go right back to slavery. Because there's no trust and there's no faith to walk by faith, to trust God. Things are unfamiliar. So what do people do when things are unfamiliar? They go right back to familiarity. So for the past 5 years, there were moments that I honestly, guys, wanted to quit because the things I was saying and the things I was seeing was not making much sense at the time. I was seeing so far ahead that even my husband was like, I don't know what you're saying to me. And so I would think to myself, well, I guess nobody else does either. Nobody gets it either. Lord, do you just want me to stop? Because maybe I've missed the timing. I always miss timing. But like I said, when you have a fire on the inside of you and the Lord downloads things to you and you don't regurgitate it, you have no rest. So regardless of what people were receiving at the time, if they were receiving it, it didn't make it any less true. And now I see everything that I was preaching happening, and it's happening at lightning speed. And guess what? Nobody really is ready. Most of you are ready, right? Most of the kingdom's ready, but money is changing. How we exchange it, the plumbing is changing. Dollar is devaluing. Trump is back in office. We never thought that would happen. Crypto blockchain is rising. Denominations and churches are falling. I remember when I did a sermon about denominational barriers dissolving out in the park, and it went over like a lead balloon. Nobody liked what I was saying. They thought I was being very divisive. What I was trying to say is the Lord showed me that we are a Christ following people. We're not a denominational people, and the denominations were getting in the way of the revival that he wanted to break out in the nation. Now we're starting to see denominations falling. We're seeing church doors closing. We're seeing corruptness being pulled down. We're seeing these things. Revival rising, shortages, all right? We're seeing the separation from the wise and the foolish virgins. I also was preaching that the divide between the lukewarm and the very hot, or you could say the wise virgins and the foolish, that the divide would get bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where we would be miles apart, still saying that we're Christians. We're seeing that. We're seeing Christians debate whether real healings are actually happening just at our church. Yet we talked about it this on Wednesday, Kristen, how the Muslims are exploding and multiplying all over our country, and they're not bickering, they're uniting. Yet the church can't unite on what's biblical, which is Acts healings, which is what we've been preaching about for the last 2,000 years. It's finally happening, and they want to argue about it. It's happening. The lukewarm and the hot were growing further apart. That the old church system, and I preach this and we're seeing it, the way that we have always done church is dying. It's not, the church is never going away. So please do not hear what I'm not saying, because the gates of hell will not prevail against the church. Jesus was very clear. And how it worked before, the Lord used it. He used the Methodist. He used the Baptist. He used these things. He used the mega churches with the fog machines and the skinny jeans. He used these things. It's done. The old wineskin is shriveling up, and the new wineskin is forming. And it looks like it's looking. It's looking like, I don't know what to call it, right? Like, why is everyone getting into pools at our church? We've got 3-4 pools now. All right. Why are what do you call it? Untraditional things happening? Why are we eating before we do service? And this isn't a traditional, where's the worship music? I don't know. I don't have any. I can't tell you. This is just what the Lord said to do. Things are changing. And the Lord told me that the ones that are continuing to stay in the old system, they can continue to resurrect it all they want to. And they're going to continue to have church the way they've always had it. But nothing of God is going to show up. No miracles are going to break out. It'll be the same while the wise and the hot are soaring on this side. Go ahead and resurrect the old if you want. A lot of you are still stuck in that. A lot are still stuck in Egypt. They don't want to come out. But the promised land is where we're going. Mount Sinai is where we're going. The Lord had me preach, I think it was 3 years ago now, I cannot remember, they're all running together, that the Lord was going to pull us out of Egypt, he was going to part the Red Sea, and we were going to head to Mount Sinai. Well, what happened at Mount Sinai? The glory came. Physically, he came down on the mountain and disrupted everybody's lives to the point where they were begging Moses that he needed to go up because they were terrified. We have not seen what the Lord is capable of doing yet on this side of the cross. We had a taste of it in Acts, but the Bible says that before the Lord's return, we will have the former rain and the latter rain meshed together, which means we will see legs grow out. We're going to see it. We're going to see amputees grow fingers. We're going to see it. We're going to see these creative miracles right in front of our faces. And they're going to be so common, and it's going to be a short window. Why? Because the King is coming. And all of the resources and all of the money that's coming through now, in May, all the way, probably for the next 18 months, it's going to be waves of this if you're positioned at the mouth of the well to receive it, to bring in these people. Can you imagine an influx of people all of a sudden at any church? It's a headache. Toilet paper, lines, waiting in lines to go to the bathroom. You can't find a seat. It's loud. Babies screaming, right? Babies are babies. They can't help it, right? Pregnant moms, transvestites. How about the ones that don't look right? They've just been mutilated by society, and they're going to start flocking in. What are we going to do? All hands on deck. We need all volunteers, but guess what? They also have needs. They need to be fed. Some of them may need to have, I don't know, we're going to get prostitutes walking in the church half naked. We're going to need some clothes. We're going to need some things to cover people. I mean, all of this costs money. It costs money. It costs time. There are many in this time, even when all of this stuff breaks out, who will play out the books of Exodus all over again. Some will never want to leave Egypt. Some always wanted to go back. Many complained. Many died in the wilderness. Only 2. Who was it? Caleb and Joshua got into the promised land. I believe that all the ones that died out in the wilderness, because they're pre-cross, so they're old covenant, right? I believe God is such a good God that he judges differently. We're under a different covenant. The ones that died in the wilderness, I don't believe are damned in hell forever. That's just my opinion. I believe they are with the Lord because he judges different than he does on this side of the cross. But they never saw the promised land on this side of life. They're with God now, but they never got the promised land here. And I feel like that's going to be a lot of the church. We're headed to glory, to glory, to glory. And there's a lot of the church that's going to die without seeing the promised land. They're going to die without seeing their healing. They're going to die without getting out of lack. They're going to die without seeing the miracles, without seeing revival. They're going to die without the promised land because they refuse to stop the old, crying about the old, wanting the old, not staying in order or not understanding new leaders are rising up. I mean, it was every time Moses looked over his shoulder, they were wanting to stone him. Somebody else would want to come and take authority. I want to see the promised land. I want to be a Joshua. I want to be a Caleb. I want to trust God so much that I believe that over the mountain is the most beautiful landscape I have ever seen, even though I haven't seen it yet. Even though there's giants in the land. I don't want to die in the wilderness. Another factor that is keeping people, and this bothers me so bad, and I don't understand why the church is this way. I don't get it. Can anybody explain this to me? Why does nobody hardly ever talk about his coming? Why? And every time that we talk about his coming, or that we I believe we will be the generation that doesn't experience death. Why does nobody get excited about that? Why do we not have sermons about Daniel, about Revelation? Why does the church never, ever do what the Lord said to do? And he said, watch, for you do not know the hour I come. But yet what perplexes me is that we keep the tradition of communion. He asked us to keep it, we keep it. We keep the traditions of baptism. He asked us to keep it, we keep it. He asked us to look for his return, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. To me, it's like, what are we gonna do? When you talk, we're just gonna have revival for 100 years. No, there's a reason why we're having revival. And that is because the king is coming. That's why we're having it. That's why limbs are gonna grow back. It's because the king is on his way. There was a preparation for him to come the first time with John the Baptist. And don't you think it's interesting that even with John the Baptist, it involved water? And now all of a sudden it involves water again. Everyone is getting in the water to get healed. It's not stopping there. People are getting healed at the altars. People are getting healed in all kinds of churches. People are getting delivered in all kinds of ministries. Ministries have different flavors about them. You have some ministries that are deliverance ministries. You have some ministries that revival ministries. You have ministries like mine that's the return of the Lord and kingdom economic ministries. There's all kind of different flavors and mantles, but we all should have the same reason and theme. The king is coming. I just wish that sometimes the church could just get together now and say, Jesus really is coming. This really is happening. There really is a generation where it is over. Not the world, but time. Time as we know it is over. When Jesus comes, that's it. There's no more time. We rule and reign with him. But not many people are ready. If Jesus was to rapture us right now before this world revival hits, less than 1% is going. And I think that's why he delays and he delays. But we're getting to a point where the delay is like not delaying anymore. I said that the Lord a few years ago, and I'm starting to see this happening, and there's a reason this is happening. Like I said, because the harvest is coming in and he needs people to be communal people. I said 3 or 4 years ago, I can't remember, that the Lord would start putting together communities and tribes. I got made fun of about that because people are like, oh, we're going to start building cults. No. That's the problem with the church as well, is that we all tend to just want to stay to ourselves, just do our little thing, go to church Wednesday and Sunday, and we don't want to be a community. We don't want to praise anybody for business. Oh, I'm not going to that person. They have enough money. That's your brother or sister. Why would you not go to them for their business or something that you're searching for, but you're going to call up someone you don't know to sell your house? Communities. And now we're starting to see it. So I think that copying is the greatest form of flattery. Now we have people, don't we, Haley, trying to mimic the network that we built. And praise God, because that means it's of God. And God says, no, I want people to know where they can go. I want them to find their people. I want them to find their tribe. I want them to find where they fit in me. There are some churches that are super intercessory churches, like they are just prayer warriors. And there's someone out there that you are just a prayer warrior and that church is for you. And maybe you feel like you don't fit in at your church because maybe your church is that you're going to, maybe it's a mission church. Maybe they just send people out on missions and you're just like, well, I'm just a prayer. Well, maybe that's your tribe, that church that's on our website that you haven't gone and checked out. We all have specific mantles and callings and places that we need to be. We are so close, and I don't think that I talk about the Lord. I talk to the Lord about this often. I don't think anybody really understands how close we are to his return. I just don't think I even get it. Like, we're a hair away from him coming. Like, it's so close. I could spend the next 2 hours talking about AI, about the beast, about kingdoms changing. I mean, have you not noticed that most of the presidents, prime ministers are all starting to turn into kings? I mean, Putin's been sitting in office for 20 years. Erdogan, he hasn't gone nowhere in like 15. Macron, why is he still in office? Netanyahu is back again. Trump's starting to talk about a third term, which is fine. I like Trump. But I'm telling you, these pawns and these pieces to the chessboard that the Lord told us would happen in the end in Revelation, the kings, the changing of the guard is happening. They're not going anywhere. They're staying longer and longer and longer. Tyranny, tyranny, tyranny. Fighting who has the most power, who has the most authority. Israel belongs to us. No, it belongs to us. No, Ukraine belongs to me. No, Ukraine belongs to us. Like, it's happening. Cashless society is happening. In the next 5 years, things will not be the same. Nobody is hearing me yet. They're starting to, but I'm telling you, nothing will look the same. The way that we buy and sell, the way that we buy and sell homes, the way that we transact, the way that we do church, the way that countries are ran, I promise you, in 5 years, it will not look the same. And the problem is it because we are such a microwave society and things don't happen like this? We forget and we end up being that frog in the pot that the water gets hotter and it gets hotter and it gets hotter and then everyone's dead. Screaming and crying that they literally can't eat. Their 401ks are gone. The pensions are all dried up. We are in a new system now. Oh, we have to have this to buy. It's going to start with our phones. You can't buy or sell until you got to have this phone thing. Scan it. We don't do cash anymore. Oh, debit cards, that's old. Who has that anymore? I don't think, in my personal opinion, that we will see the mark of the beast or the Antichrist. I believe that the pre-trib rapture will happen. Pre-tribulation rapture, that's what I believe. I believe that's very biblical. But there's a lot of things leading up to that the Lord needs us to accomplish before we get out of here. And this generation, just like a rally race, I guess is what you call it, when you pass the baton, like in the Olympics, the last one to the finish line for that gold medal has to run the fastest, has to run the hardest than any of them before. And so the Lord is asking us who will do it. Will you do this for me? Will you run this? Will you labor? Will you bring in my harvest? Because that's what he wants. He wants his people. And dealing with people is not fun sometimes. Shaun and I have talked about it on our YouTube. When you run a business or even when you're in ministry, dealing with people is hard. Dealing with saved people is hard. It seems like the pre-Christians sometimes are easy to deal with than Christians. Isn't that odd? I can't tell you all the time that it's easy for me to minister to people because I am in the flesh too. And I get tired. You guys get tired. Sometimes you just want to sit down and maybe watch your favorite show. I don't know, but the Lord's asking you to do something. And we have to say, yes, maybe you don't like traveling, but the Lord really, really wants you to get on that plane and go to that conference or go here or go there. But you don't want to spend money on a plane ticket because you'd rather just, I don't know, buy more clothes, more shoes, a piece of furniture. Maybe you got a really high Starbucks bill. I don't know. We have to run this race faster. We have to run it harder than any other generation. He's coming. From now until fall. This is what I want to do. I think, Knox, I may want to shut off the live for this part. Wait, hold on a second. Let me tell them why. There are some things, guys, that cannot go out publicly. This is biblical. The Lord taught the masses, but he spoke plainly to his disciples, and only one heard the heartbeat of God. I will put this last little bit on Patreon if you guys want it, because there's specific price points and stuff that I'm going to talk to these people about. If you want to go there, because Patreon pays for this place and helps us build the kingdom. So yeah, I think that's what I want to do, Knox. So I'll see you guys on the other side.